In 2007, Eddie Vedder stepped away from the thunder of Pearl Jam and created something quieter but no less powerful. The project was Into the Wild, the soundtrack to Into the Wild movie, and nearly 2 decades later, many fans still consider it the most intimate and emotionally honest work of his career. The story began when Sean Penn asked Vedder to write music for his film adaptation of Jon Krakauer's best-selling book. The movie tells the true story of Christopher McCandless, a young man who abandoned modern society and set out alone into the Alaskan wilderness in search of meaning. Penn believed Vedder was the perfect musician to capture that spirit, and he was right. The soundtrack does more than accompany the film. It becomes the emotional voice of Christopher McCandless himself. The album opens with Setting Forth, a brief but stirring introduction to a journey into the unknown. Then comes Long Nights, where Vedder's weathered voice conveys both hope and uncertainty. Hard Sun, his soaring cover of a song by Indio, provides the soundtrack to the film's most exhilarating moments, capturing the thrill of freedom and the rush of leaving civilization behind. But perhaps the most memorable song is Society. Written by Jerry Hannon and performed by Vedder, the track became the philosophical centerpiece of the film. Its lyrics question materialism, conformity, and the cost of modern life. For many listeners, it remains one of Vedder's most profound performances. The soundtrack was also a major turning point in Vedder's career. Until then, he was known primarily as the voice of Pearl Jam. But Into the Wild revealed another side of his artistry, one rooted in folk music, acoustic arrangements, and deeply personal storytelling. The album became his first solo release and won the Golden Globe Awards for Best Original Song for Guaranteed. This song closes both the album and the film. Its lyrics reflect the hard-earned wisdom of Christopher McCandless, who eventually realized that happiness only becomes real when it is shared with others. It is one of the most heartbreaking conclusions in modern cinema. Fans on Reddit still call the soundtrack one of the greatest movie albums ever recorded, praising how perfectly Vedder's voice captures the loneliness, beauty, and danger of the wilderness. What makes this soundtrack so enduring is its simplicity. No stadium-sized guitars, no explosive choruses, just acoustic instruments, raw vocals, and songs that feel like they were written beside a campfire under a cold Alaskan sky. For Vedder, the project was deeply personal. He once said it was surprisingly easy to step into McCandless's mindset, as if the story awakened something he already understood, a desire to escape, a longing to live honestly, and a recognition that freedom by itself is not enough. Today, Into the Wild stands as more than a soundtrack. It is a meditation on youth, solitude, and the search for purpose. And for Eddie Vedder, it remains proof that sometimes the quietest music leaves the deepest mark. Nearly 20 years after its release, these songs still resonate. Not because they are loud, but because they tell a universal truth.